Alright everyone, today we're going to do something a little bit different. We're going to go through Silver Surfer. I got this for Christmas, and this is Mighty Marvel Masterworks, the Silver Surfer. It's the first one. It's called Sentinel of the Spaceways, and we're going to go through issue number 1. And I'm going to try to keep going through these issues kind of like I'm doing with American Vampire, but I am going to try to throw in something a little bit different because American Vampire is for mature readers, and this one is obviously not. This is from 1968, and it's by Stan Lee and John Buscema. But we're going to go through the first issue today, and it is The Silver Surfer number 1 from August 1968, and it's the origin of the Silver Surfer. Now, this isn't the first Silver Surfer comic. That was like in Fantastic Four, which we may go over that a little bit later. But this is just number 1 from his own self-titled series. And it's an all-new book-length Marvel epic from 1968. And it is pretty long. It's like 44 pages. So we are going to go through it, look at some of the artwork, and I'll kind of just give you the gist of everything. But I've loved Silver Surfer ever since I saw the 90s TV series, animated series. Me and my brother used to watch that one a lot, and I really didn't know anything about the Silver Surfer until I saw that. So it's kind of cool to actually go through the origin, because I've never read this before until just recently. So this is the first cover, the origin of the Silver Surfer. It's going to be how he all started, how he began. So it starts out, gives a little intro, and then it goes into the story. So we have the Silver Surfer. He is actually on Earth, and he saves a spaceship here. It's obviously it's like a spaceship to him, but to us, we know what that is. It's a capsule from space. It goes down. This is just like the astronauts going into space or anything like that. But he sees it falling, thinks it's in trouble. He goes to rescue it, and he can go through water just like in space because he doesn't breathe. Like, he's encased in silver, and he doesn't need any of that. It protects him. So he goes and rescues the pilot. These guys see him. They don't know what's happening. He goes and drops them off on the carrier, and they start attacking because, he's just like an alien. He's just somebody that they don't understand. So they go attack him. And it shows him traversing from here. He goes to other countries like China and Russia. And he is very introspective. That's a signature of the Silver Surfer. He has a lot of monologues. He talks. He's very depressed. And we are going to see why as he is thinking right here. He flashes back to his early beginnings. So the Silver Surfer is actually a man from the planet Zenla, and his name is Norrin Rad. And they have weird, different clothing here. The art in this is really cool because it's just different from what we see today. And they got flying cars. They got all this technology. They're peaceful people. And Norrin Rad is here, and he is wanting something more. And he's thinking, we have all this technology, all this stuff, but we haven't earned it. And this is a planet that has been around for thousands and thousands and thousands of years, and they have progressed, and he just doesn't understand, and he wants something more. But they have no war, they have pleasure, they can do whatever they want, and they have all this freedom, and he wants to work for it. He wants something else, he wants to earn it. So we have this cool little sequence here. He goes to this museum, and he is able to go look through different technologies and different things they have. And one thing they have is almost like VR. It's kind of like VR, what we have today. And he goes and sits in this machine, and he tells them where he wants to go, and they send him back. And he can actually see through history, and he's looking through Zenla's history. So this is like way back in like caveman days when they're fighting, monsters. Then they have these battle scars so deep that we renounce the use of arms forever. It's the 10,000 century age of warfare. So, 10,000 years, they've been around for a long time. And then there's another sequence after this where he's right here, and this is where they have thought. So it's kind of like our Renaissance if it's comparing it to us. So he says, "Attendant, I desire to study the early days of Zenla space travel." So he knows that they have everything. They've achieved all this knowledge and all this technology, but he yearns to surf the stars. So he goes to these early days of space travel. He sees that they have spaceships. They go out exploring as space-spanning astronauts, and then astral pioneers here. They go and settle other planets. And he says, but then one day it ended. And he said, we had probed the cosmos, but set our flag upon 1,000 galaxies. We had gone too far, seen too much, and then we no longer cared. So they got bored. So he's flashing back, and then now he goes back to the present. And on Earth, he doesn't feel a place. He feels like he's out of place. He's trapped on Earth, and we'll see that a little bit later as the story progresses in the other comics. But he is trapped on Earth right here in current time, and he sees all these different people. He went through the, I guess it was Americans maybe that attacked him, and then he went through China, and then now he's just going through different places. He finds Yetis, and they also attack him. So he doesn't feel at home. And then he says, "Where can I go? The celestial currents of space are forevermore denied me, and on all of Earth there is no haven, no shelter for the likes of me." So he's a very depressed character, and it's kind of depressing. But he flashes through here. We see a little bit of Marvel cameos. We see the Hulk. He says he saved the Hulk, but the Hulk misunderstood him, and they started fighting, and he attacked him. So he had to shoot the Hulk with the light blast. And then we see Doctor Doom, which is a Fantastic Four villain. Doctor Doom actually tries to steal his powers, and this it gives little side notes in case you didn't know. But he says, "As we rabid readers of Fantastic Four number 57 shall never forget." So this particular instance happens in Fantastic Four number 57. But he says, he took his powers, but he prevailed, and Doctor Doom was the one that faced defeat. And so now he finds this ruined civilization, this ruined structures here, and he says, "Is this what I traded everything for? Is this the rubble and the decay that I'm gonna feel, kind of thing? Is this the end of striving and of hope?" So he's real depressed right here, and he is, kind of just real sad. And then he flashes back to why he's so sad. And this is Shalabal. It's the girl that he loved on Zenla. She knows that he's depressed and that he's seeking something else. So it's kind of, he's depressed before he's Silver Surfer, and then he's depressed as the Silver Surfer. So it's kind of crazy. But anyway, he is here with her, and she knows he's sad. She knows he won't be happy until he gets that adventure that he is striving for. So he is talking about all the different stuff, and he says, "I can no longer bear the sight of my fellow man spending his days in pursuit of endless pleasure. Even our knowledge is unearned. A lifetime's learning is absorbed in minutes by our hypno-powered study cubes." So he's going through all their different technology. Says even the politicians are useless. Okay, so skip ahead a little bit, and we see right here everything changes. It says, "It was at that very moment, a moment destined to change the course of a billion lives, that the fateful interruption occurred." Shalabal's talking right here in this panel, and she says, "Can you never be content? Must you always Norin?" And he says, "Be silent, Shala. The citizens' alarm has sounded for the first time in a millennium." So something else is going on here. They see that there is an alien spacecraft that is coming to attack them, and they're freaking out because they don't have any weapons or anything like that. They're people of peace. They don't even know how to fight anymore, and it's just this giant sphere. So everybody's freaking out. It's the end of the world kind of scenario, and they're trying to figure out what to do. And they say use the weapon supreme. So this is like an ancient weapon that they haven't used in thousands of years, and they don't even know what it's going to do with everything. And so they are trying to figure it out, and they say, "Yeah, go ahead and use it." So they use it, creates this giant chaos going on. They have a kind of a sphere of, of protection around their planet, and because of that, their planet is not destroyed when all these other ones are getting knocked off of balance. So I'm guessing what's happening here is the weapon shoots the orb starts flying and hits all these other planets, knocking them around, kind of like pinball. But their planet is not affected like they are, but their defenses gets taken down, and then all the destruction happens, and their place is just all in shambles. So they escape there. Norrin says, "I gotta go find people who want to fight back, who want to, figure out what to do." And everybody is just in despair and panicking. But he says, "I'm gonna go do this." And he says, "Wait, no one can fight the impossible. Nothing is impossible except to one who has lost the will. And Norrin Rad shall never lose his will." So he's a very determined man. So he goes and it says he searches and he finds and nobody else wants to help. So he goes and grabs one of the elders and explains to him what he wants to do. And he says, "But we know not who attacks us, nor for what motive. If I could but reach the giant globe, if I had a spacecraft to carry me aloft." And then he says, "But our finest scientific minds, our greatest computers, have all agreed. Our plight is hopeless. Do you hear? Hopeless. Only to one who has abandoned faith." So he is very determined and he convinces them to help him. So he says, "Okay, I'll build you a spacecraft." And they have, cool machines. And one of them is called the mental constructor. So this guy uses the mental constructor and he envisions a spacecraft and he builds it for Norrin Rad. And Norrin Rad takes off and he says, "Ages ago, 1,000 times 1,000 would have begged to fly that ship. But now there is only Norrin Rad." So he's the bravest man in Zenlaw, and he decides to go and fight and give him a chance. So here we go. Fast forward a little bit, and we have Norrin Rad making contact with the ship. He says, "I speak for Zenlaw," and then he starts getting sucked in by a tractor beam. So he's here. He says, "There's no crew, no sign of an invading army." And he ventures forth, and then all of a sudden he gets attacked. And he says, "I'm in the grip of a force so all-consuming, so totally alien that," and then he screams. And lo and behold, it is Galactus. So if anybody knows Galactus, he is a very powerful being, and he is trying to devour worlds for energy. So this is Norrin Rad and Zenlaw's first contact with him, but they know who he is. So he explains why he's here and what he's going to do. He's going to take the energy of Zenlaw. Norrin Rad pleads with them and fights with them and says, "No, please do not." And then Galactus throws this out there: "Had I a herald to probe the universe for me, then many worlds such as this would I spare. But there is no such a one, and so I must make my preparations, for the world of Zenlaw is rich in energy, in basic energy, and the hunger which I feel grows ever stronger." So Norrin Rad says, "No, you mustn't. You can't. Stop. I beg you to hear me out. I have an offer to make. If a herald you desire, then a herald shall I be. Let me probe the heavens, scan the starways, roam the endless cosmos for you. All this will I do, if you will but spare my people, spare Zenlaw." So Galactus considers this and he says, "Think, Norrin Rad, consider well what you have offered. He who assumes the mantle of herald to Galactus shall so do forevermore." So Norrin Rad says, "Yes, I'll do it if it's going to save my planet." And so it happens. Galactus uses his power cosmic and he makes Norrin Rad a cosmic warrior, and he says, "You are reborn." And he says, "At the command of a Galactus you have fallen, and now at my command once again I bid you rise." So Norrin Rad is no more. Now he is the Silver Surfer. He says, "Your body has been completely encased in a life-preserving silvery substance of my own creation, a substance which will shield you from heat, from cold, and from lack of oxygen. From this moment forth, neither the frigid marrow-chilling emptiness of airless space, nor the all-consuming inferno of the hottest sun can cause you harm. And now, to transport you through the endless cosmos, I shall provide the perfect vehicle." So he gives him a surfboard. And he says, "You can now speed through the cosmos looking for planets that will supply me with energy." And so Norrin Rad goes and he is excited about this, but he knows he has to say goodbye to Shalabal. So he takes off and bids her farewell. And he says, "The planet's going to be saved, but I have to go, and this is, what I have to do." So she's sad about that, and he is saying here, "That is so, Shalabal. Never shall we meet again. Such is the price I must pay that a world may live. While infinity beckons, I must leave behind my very heart." And then she says, "Never has there been, never will there be another such as you." So he goes off sad and depressed, and that's where we have him here today. But something else happens, and it's going to zoom forward. This is another issue that it's talking about. It's right here. It says, "If you have missed Fantastic Four number 50, you have to take our word for all of this. It's too involved to explain right here." So it's kind of a complicated issue, but it explains the falling out of Silver Surfer and Galactus, and we're going to hit on it right here just for a little bit. So this is kind of like intro. First issue is giving you the whole backstory to Silver Surfer, his origin, and then even some of the stuff from Fantastic Four that's already happened before this series. So it's catching you up. Then the most fateful moment of all, the discovery of the planet Earth. So here's where he discovers planet Earth, and he's going to give Galactus, the signal so he can come and do his thing and take the energy of the planet and destroy it. But it says, "It was here upon this tortured world that I first defied him who had given me the power. For those who dwelt upon the earth had a special sword of glory." And says, "Stay back, Harold. These creatures are of no consequence to Galactus. No, Master, no, you cannot destroy the entire human race. They are as deserving of life as you or I." And then he says, "Never before had I dared to challenge Galactus, and so it began. No matter what the fate, I face it without qualm." So skip forward a little bit, and Silver Surfer defies Galactus to try to save the planet Earth. And then we have Reed Richards here. He has a weapon that can stop Galactus, and Galactus recognizes what it is. And he says, "No, Galactus, it is you who will perish, for we have found the weapon at last." And he says, "Ultimate nullifier, in the hands of a human, you hold the means to destroy a galaxy, to lay waste to a universe." And that is all in Fantastic Four number 50. So then it jumps forward from there because of Silver Surfer's betrayal of Galactus and, trying to stop him. He says, "For the first time since the dawn of memory, my will has been thwarted. But I bear no malice. Emotion is for lesser beings. Yet there is one thing that must be done. Since you shall be Herald to Galactus no longer, I remove your space-time powers." It says, "Henceforth the Silver Surfer shall roam the galaxies no more." So here we go. We'll read the last panel of the first issue. "Now here I stand alone and forsaken upon this hostile world. I who have crested the waves of infinity, exiled forever upon the lonely sphere. The time is long and fate is fickle. My destiny still lies before me, and where it beckons, there shall soar the Silver Surfer." And the next issue is "When Lands a Saucer," and that's a saucer. "When Lands a Saucer," and that's a sneak peek right there of the cover for number 2. I do plan to go through the rest of these. These comics are a little bit harder for me to read because they are very descriptive, especially the way Stan Lee writes. But the fact that this is the first stories of the Silver Surfer, like his first series, really makes me want to at least go through these first issues and read all these. They are very dialogue heavy, and this one is a little bit different because it was the first issue and it was a feature issue, they said, so it's like 40 something pages. So it's kind of hard to get through. But I was excited to see because this is all stuff that is kind of shown in that 90s TV series that I watched. But it is a little different because they, revamped it for that. So it's cool to see the original stories, and I really like the colorful artwork and all the different drawings that are in here. But anyway, thanks for hanging out. I'm not too sure on the length of this video. I may cut some of it down. But this is the first issue, and hopefully you'll join me for the next ones. We'll at least go through these 4. Alright, I'll see you next time.